What's up, fam? Can you guys hear me? Let me know. What's up? What's up? All right, cool, cool. We're getting some people in here. Let me go ahead and get everything started. Send out the links and everything. I appreciate the people that are already here popping in. You guys are real ones for sure. Let me know if there are any issues, audio issues, whatever the case may be. I look forward to doing, this sort of stream idea. I thought it'd be something new. I thought it'd be something cool. And if all goes well, if you guys like the idea, I definitely would be down to do a bunch more of these. So let me know after the stream how you guys like how things go. In the meantime, let me know if you guys took any trades today in chat, how you guys did trading while I get everything set up and good to go. Boom, boom, boom. Alright, fam, I'm gonna go ahead and get my screen shared. What I'm going to do, very chill night, very chill vibes. We're all just gonna kind of chill together, do some analysis together. If you guys have any questions, feel free to ask me. I'll go over a couple of different things. And yeah, like I said, it's just going to be a solid chill night going over some stuff on the charts. Maybe I'll react to a couple of things if you guys have any suggestions. So let me know. Let me go ahead and share my screen, get everything started. Looks like we got a couple of you guys popping in. Solid. Let me go ahead and post on my Instagram. Might as well. Posting on my main Instagram. AMD went insane on puts. Oh, did you guys see the end of day drop to the downside? That was crazy. It was about 11:12 Pacific time. 1 second, boys. All right, boys. I'm gonna go ahead. Wavy! That's awesome. You're in here, bro. Nice to see you, dog. Hope all is well. Hope all is well. What an OG member, dude. This is an OG Tukhi trading member, guys. Literally the start of Tukhi trading years ago. That's awesome, bro. Hope you're well. Okay, cool. We had FOMC a couple of days ago. Main recap on the FOMC Jerome Powell meeting. Jerome Powell really wasn't in a rush for interest rates to be cut. Martin, yes, sir. Glad you're in here, brother. Um, but I'm trying to switch over to SPY here. I'm gonna go ahead do some analysis on SPY, Tesla, just the usual. If you guys have, any tickers in particular, or anything that you want me to review, please let me know. Or if you have any questions, as well, please let me know so I can cover that. Just going to do some analysis, go over some zones that we could possibly utilize even going into tomorrow to take some trades. And then also, like I mentioned, kind of go over some key levels, see where price is at, see what it's doing, and kind of see what's next in terms of the whole market. So, you guys can see my screen, right? I just want to confirm. Yeah, you can. Okay, cool. Okay. For SPY, we're currently trading at the 513 mark. If you guys were in pre-market analysis, I was saying that that whole 520 area was huge for SPY, right? The whole 520, it was mainly the 523 level that needed to be broken above in order for SPY to really see that continuous move to the upside. Obviously, especially after today, we had a huge dump to the downside, putting us back to the low 500s, showing that that 520 level, 523 level, especially as you guys can see right here, was very heavily respected, was a very strong level. For the ones that were in pre-market analysis, I literally said that 523 level was determined to either um, B for us to either see if SPY was either going to continue rallying to the upside or if we were going to get that strong rejection at or around 523 and see us come down a little bit. And obviously that's what we did. You can see right here, strong 523 rejection, and we got a huge dump to the downside. Looks like we got a $10 move today, which was absolutely insane. I saw a bunch of different things in terms of like option contracts where people turned like $20 into $2,000. So today went absolutely insane, especially if you were able to catch that move. Me myself, I did not catch this move. I did not take the trade towards the end of the day. Especially, you guys know me, I'm not really trading towards the end of the day unless I'm obviously holding some type of position going into that specific time frame. But for me, the trade that I took was very, very simple. I'll go ahead and I'll kind of do a quick recap on why I took the trade. I did take it inside of live trading this morning with the boys. So if you were there as well, you saw me take this trade. But anyways, we had a strong move to the downside, indicating strong selling pressure. Realistically, I wanted a retracement into that strong selling pressure, so I looked for some type of key level that could have been created. In this case scenario, it was a fair value gap, a bearish fair value gap to be exact. Now, what I wanted was I simply just wanted a retracement into this fair value gap, and I wanted price to go down into this bullish order block, this demand area that I had charted out. So, main reason that I had this level charted out here is you can see within pre-market we had a huge push up, a huge leg up, indicating that there were obviously strong buyers, strong buying pressure within this area. Now, whenever you see that there is either strong buying pressure or strong selling pressure within a specific area, you typically want to trade with that, right? You typically want to trace that area out, because when price does go back into that area, there is a high chance that a move similar is likely to happen than previously, if that makes sense. So you guys can see in this case scenario, we had a large move up indicating strong buying pressure. Now I had that charted out, and you can literally see I had that charted out as my take profit level. Due to the fact that I could obviously um I could obviously exit at the highest point possible or take the most profit possible within that trade before it reverses on me. Because obviously, you guys need to understand that when you are in a trade, the trade is never going to be continuously moving in your direction. You know what I mean? So you always need to be aware of where price is likely to reverse. Now, in this case scenario, since I was really just treating this like a scalp, I said, okay, I see that we have strong selling pressure here. I see that we have strong buying pressure here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to utilize this area to go short, and I'm going to utilize this area for my exit. Now you guys can simply see, very, very simply, each time that we tapped and bounced into this area, I'll simply just call it, our demand zone, I guess. Each time that we had bounced into this area, you can see that we heavily respected it, and we didn't just heavily respected it, but we bounced off of it, right? We bounced off of it, showing that buyers were there. Buyers were active. One bounce, retrace, another bounce, retrace, another bounce, retrace, and then ultimately, once those buyers completely filled their orders, look what happened. Right off of our zone, we finally got that strong move, that strong push to the upside. Obviously, we did get the confirmation that this zone was a valid area where buyers wanted to step in once we got that retracement and bounce. But ideally, this big break was the big move for us, right? This big break was the big move for us, because obviously in demand, we have an overload of buyers, and then vice versa for supply, we have an overload of sellers. Now, when price taps into that demand, price isn't automatically just going to rip, right? It's going to take time, because since there are such large buying orders and such a large amount of buying orders that need to be filled, it's going to take time. It's going to take time. And that's sometimes what when we see consolidation. That's what happens when we see consolidation, periods of accumulation where price is kind of just moving sideways, because that is simply the process of those buyers accumulating their orders, filling those orders into the market. And like I said, since there are so many orders that are being filled, and these orders are being filled at such a large capacity, meaning there's such a large amount of trades going into these orders, that means that that is causing high amounts of volume. And as you guys know, high amounts of volume or high amount of money going into the market, volume is just simply money or buyers or sellers, right? When there is high amounts of money going into the market, that's what moves it. The market moves off of liquidity, off of money going into it, right? If there's no money going into the market, how is it going to move? If there are no buyers, if there are no sellers, price is not going to be moving. The market is based off of an auction pretty much, so that's one of the biggest things that you need to understand is you always need to be trading where supply is highest and also where demand is highest. And you guys know, especially for the OGs, I have multiple different videos and I have gone over multiple different topics on how you can actually trade with high supply, trade with high demand, and spot high supply and demand on the charts. I do have a new YouTube video coming out tomorrow actually on how to actually create supply and demand zones. I know I've done a video like that previously, but it's always good just to make updated ones. You guys know what I mean? So that would be that. Can you explain fair value gaps in order blocks? Of course. So let me see. Let me get some water real quick. How's everything going, guys? Let me get some W's in the chat. Who's still here? Fire. Okay. I'll make it very brief, but I'll make it very brief because I've already made two separate videos on order blocks and fair value gaps on my page, which I recommend you guys all go check out if you haven't already. But fair value gaps are gaps, obviously, that are created within the market, but they're created because price has moved too fast to the point where the orders couldn't be filled. Now, what that means is now we have unfilled orders laying within a certain gap, within a certain price range. Now, we want to mark out that gap or mark out that price range because in order for the market makers or the banks and institutions, in order for them to move price to where they want it to, all the orders nearby from where they're trading need to be filled, obviously. And if there are unfilled orders in a specific area, especially if it's a lot of them, when price goes back to that area, those orders are going to be filled, right? Because those market makers, the banks, are going to fill those orders. And as I was explaining earlier, when they are filling those orders, that then puts more money into the market. Because the more orders that are being filled, the more money that is obviously being put into those trades. You get what I mean? So as you can see here, we have a simple gap within the market. And what I mean by a gap is typically when you see your candles, they're always going to kind of be touching each other, right? Like the candle previous to the other candle is always going to somehow be touching it. Like the bottom wick is going to be touching the candlestick body, etc. But in this case scenario, you can see that this candle previous had a gap to this candle, if that makes sense. If it's confusing, I 100% understand. Go ahead and check out my full YouTube video. There's actually two parts, two YouTube videos. But anyways, we have the gap simply just created like this. Boom, boom. Now that our gap is created, you can see price moves down, then it moves back up because for price to continue moving down further, like I said, those market makers, banks and institutions, they need to have all the orders nearby filled on the charts in order for them to move it to where they want to move it to next. So they obviously price retraces back to that area. We get that fair value gap retracement and then simply see but pretty much as we retrace and tap into our fair value gap, the orders start to get filled, right? You can see we have a strong push to the upside, but as we tap into that gap, aka the area that has a bunch of unfilled orders, those unfilled orders are now being filled. And like I've been explaining multiple times, since those orders are now being filled, that is putting money, liquidity into the markets. Then you can see the reversals obviously starts to happen, and then price starts to move back to the downside, right? Then market makers obviously move price to where they want it to next. Fair value gaps are created almost everywhere, every day. You're going to get multiple different scenarios or examples of fair value gaps, bullish fair value gaps, bearish fair value gaps, etc. So that would be that. And then let's see here. So for news, going into tomorrow, last day of the week, Friday, we have 3 red folders, but it's all pre-market. So realistically, going into market open, we don't have to worry about any type of data, any type of news. Yoba, that's so awesome, bro. Glad to see you in here. But as I was saying, pre-market news is the only thing we have going into tomorrow. They are 3 red folders though, so we definitely will see some type of pre-market volatility or shift within pre-markets. But going into market open, we should be in the clear. I'll go ahead and I'll go over some zones or some key levels that we could utilize going into tomorrow. Obviously, you guys can, feel free to just screenshot my levels or my charts, or you can just copy it as I create it. What about order blocks? Order blocks are very similar to supply and demand zones. I really consider order blocks as mini supply and demand zones. Just a brief example on what order blocks are. Order blocks are simply created when there obviously are a large amount of orders that are suddenly placed within the market. And when, as I was obviously explaining earlier, when there are suddenly a large amount of orders being then placed within the markets, that then creates unfilled orders, and B, that also creates volatility and more volume, which obviously is what we want. So obviously, when order blocks are created, we then utilize that for price retracements to either take an entry, take an exit, or just spot a possible reversal within price. An example of an order block would be something like, let me show you here. Let me see. Best example. I suppose this could be an example. I could find something better, but I don't want to just be lagging on you guys. So, order blocks are obviously created when a large amount of orders are suddenly being placed within the market. So, that pretty much means whenever you see a large move or a sudden large move into the market, that pretty much means that a large amount of demand, a large amount of buying pressure, or a large amount of supply, a large amount of selling pressure, which is then being placed within the market. And like I've been saying multiple times, when that is the case, when that happens, we want to trade with that. That is where we want to trade, where there is high demand, where there is high supply, where there is high buying pressure, etc. You guys get the case. We see strong buying pressure here. We see a strong move up here. So what that means is we want to trace out this move. I'm going to get rid of this demand zone. Now, what I typically do for the order blocks is I mark out the candle that actually started the move. I mark out the candle that started the move to either the upside or to the downside. In this case scenario, it's going to be the upside. So I'm going to mark it out. I'm going to extend it. Now, you can see Price bounced up. It did its thing. Keep in mind, today was honestly pretty ugly in terms of price action up until the huge drop that we had. But we finally bounced back into the order block in which we had created. And you can see, rather than price continuing going down further to the downside, it heavily respected the order block and it didn't break below. Why is that? The reason for that is because once price reached back into this area, reached back into this range, the A, unfilled orders started to be filled, and B, the large amounts of orders, large amounts of money started to then be placed within the market. And look what that caused. It caused a strong move up, and it caused, obviously, those buyers to step in. So you could easily utilize order blocks for scalps, entries, exits. Like I was saying earlier, you can utilize them for multiple different things. So that would be a brief explanation of order blocks. And then looks like, let me see here. Will you or do you ever have fun with crypto futures? Personally, that's just not my thing. I actually started with crypto. Most of you OGs know that, but I'm not really into it much. And crypto futures is just not something that really sparks my interest. Every trader is different, I suppose, but I'm just most interested in trading within the stock market. So let me see. What do I think about gap fills? I think they're solid. Like I just mentioned, I think every trader is different. So whatever works best for you and whatever you see is fit to your trading strategy or your trading skills, I think, go ahead and run that up. But I'm you guys know this. I'm heavy on supply and demand. As I've been explaining this whole stream, I am I always trade, I always look to trade where there is high supply, high demand on the charts. So that's definitely a big thing. Thanks so much. Really appreciate it if you can do more lives like this. 100%. If you guys want me to start doing more lives like this, please let me know down in the chat. Um, but yeah, this is lit. If you guys have any tickers, any other questions for me, anything in particular that you kind of want me to go over or react to, Tesla filled the gap this morning while you were live. Yeah, Tesla was super strong this morning, actually. I was looking to take a couple setups on Tesla, but it didn't work out, unfortunately. Let's go ahead and go over some key levels that we can possibly utilize going into tomorrow. The main thing that I really want to draw out is that 523, 524 supply area. Because obviously, as I mentioned, you guys can see we had a huge 10, $11 move to the downside here on the S&P. So let me see. Yeah, so let me mark that out and then okay, cool. Can everyone hear me? You guys can hear me, right? Is my audio good? Let me know in chat. We solid, boys? Let me know. Okay. As I mentioned earlier, I'm sorry, I just kind of like lost it, boys. As I mentioned earlier, we have pre-market news 5:30 a.m. an hour before market open. Three different red folders, so that's definitely going to cause a shift in price. But what I want to do now is I want to look for some type of key demand. Obviously, realistically, there's no point in marking out this supply zone going into tomorrow because there's it's just unrealistic for price to move back up like 11, $12 and push up to the supply. So what I am going to do is I'm going to be smart and I'm going to mark out the areas that are closest to where price is currently trading on the charts. So I definitely recommend doing that. Always going to mark out currently just the lows, highs. Okay, cool. Looks like we have a resistance created here. Now, what I'm going to do is before I draw any zones on the 1 minute, I'm going to draw them out on the 5 minute. Now for these zones, obviously you guys know I'm really just looking to spot the large move or the sudden move to either the up or to the downside. Yeah, give me a second. Okay, cool. Now, let's see here. Okay, cool. Looks like I'm spotting something. Perfect. So it looks like we have a bit of demand created here, accumulation. You guys can see that we are on the 5 minute time frame. Keep that in mind. We have a strong move here. Obviously, price being pushed up to the upside, meaning that we have a large amount of buying pressure, a large amount of orders being placed within the markets. As I've been mentioning multiple times, we want to obviously trade when that is put into the market. So what I'm going to do, going to draw that zone out, and then I'm just going to extend it to currently. Keep in mind. Let me see. Will that? Okay. I would say that would honestly be perfect. Let me fix one thing. Boom. Okay, cool. Keep in mind, you guys can kind of draw the zones as I'm drawing them, or you can just screenshot and do your thing. We got the 5 minute zone. Now, what I want to do, I'll mark this out as my 5 minute supply as well. I'll change the color. So here's my supply, aka my selling zone. Now, after I draw out my supply and demand on the 5 minute, I'm going to switch to the 1 minute. Now, what I want to do, this is perfect. Draw the 1 minute zone inside the 5 minute zone. I'll make this orange. Actually, I'll just keep it red. Oh, wow. Same thing for the demand. Look for a 1 minute zone inside the 5 minute. Perfect, perfect. Looks like we had a slight pre-market break, but I'm not going to count that. Also, like I mentioned multiple times too, we do have pre-market news, pre-market data, 3 red folders. So that's definitely likely for to lead pre-market with some type of volatility, whether it's a shift to the up or shift to the downside. So either of these zones could be invalidated going into tomorrow morning, but I will be live um, in the Tukhi trading server tomorrow at 6 a.m. Pacific time for a pre-market review, and then also likely do some live trading too. So um, be sure to pop in for that. So we have our supply and we also have our demand. We also have this order block here. I want to see if it's the same on the 5 minute. Yeah. I'm going to go ahead and mark this out as well, just because it's closer to the demand. Whenever I mark out my supply and demand zones, I always make sure to, obviously I don't want my supply and demand zones to be too close, but I want to make sure that my supply is closest to my demand. Like it's not like $30 off. You guys know what I mean? Okay, I'm gonna just mark this out as, I'll do 514.70 or seller's area. Like I said, keep in mind, feel free to do the same or screenshot. And then demand zone, we have, I'll go ahead and I'll mark it out as 513 even, because the 513 even demand is probably the key level as well. So I'll go ahead and do 513 demand or our buying area. Boom. So that would be that. Now, I like both of these zones a lot. Reason for that, we were able to match the 1 minute demand zone inside the 5 minute demand zone. Same thing with the supply. We were able to match the 1 minute supply zone inside the 5 minute supply zone. And then obviously we marked out our pre-market highs, our pre-market lows, which would be right here. Now, we did get this break under this demand. But honestly, I'm not gonna count it just because it was pre-market. And then obviously you can see right here we did get another retracement into this 5 minute demand zone, and we got that bounce right off of it. So still a confirmed area to me, but regardless, I will still be in Discord tomorrow doing some pre-market analysis to make sure that we're getting the best zones and make sure that we're doing the best analysis possible so you guys can really get the best idea when it comes to where to actually take your entries, your exits, or whatever the case may be. So any questions in the meantime? How's everything been, boys? Or Robinhood, can you please review that when you have time? Thank you so much. I got you, brother. The Robinhood, the stock. That's funny you say that because Robinhood was actually like one of the very first stocks that I actually traded. So I don't mind looking at that at all. You're referring to the stock, I'm assuming, the ticker, right? Unless you want me to do a review on the broker. Who's still in here? Let me know, boys. That's very true. I did hear about that. I started trading on Robinhood, started learning options on Robinhood. I started trading Robinhood on Robinhood. I had my first biggest gain on Robinhood. It was like $80, but I didn't sell. I didn't sell. I was up like 50, 60%. I'm like, oh, this is going to keep on going higher. Prince, this is exactly what I'm talking about when you were texting me earlier. Um, I would just be in a trade and I would be up so much and I'm like, oh, I'm up this amount. It's just going to keep on going. Greed would get the best of me and I would think that the market was just always going to continuously move in my direction. And obviously, that's not the case for anyone, for any stock. So keep that in mind. Um, you're the man, Derek. Yeah, the new credit card was big for Robinhood as well. I know they had the Robinhood cards or whatever previous, but that's definitely big as well. For Robinhood though, looks like the $18 mark is a very strong level. $18 is a key level for Robinhood. Same with 1950. It seems like the 50 cent dollar marks on Robinhood are really like the key levels that you kind of have to focus on. Robinhood heavily trades within a range. As I'm seeing right now, and as I remember from when I used to trade it, Robinhood is always. I mean, every stock pretty much is, but if you kind of look at Robinhood, it has like a dollar $2 range that it just moves from each and every single day. And it's either just moving to the up or to the downside. And it literally does that every single day. I remember this because, like I said, I used to trade it. And as you guys can see for Robinhood, it's either just an up day or it's either just a continuous down day for the stock. So, um, but yeah, the 50 cent mark and dollar marks are really just like the key levels that you kind of need to look for. And then obviously, Derek, I know you were asking about fair value gaps earlier. You can see there's a fair value gap created here on Robinhood. You can see this huge gap here, strong push to the downside. A indicating lots of selling pressure. B indicating unfilled orders that are being presented because price moved too fast in order for those orders to actually be filled. And C, we got large amounts of volume, which means with those three things added up, once price moves back to that area, price is likely to do something similar, right? So we want to mark out that gap, which boom, right here. Oh, hold on, sorry. Right here and right here. Fair value gap retracement, price moves into the fair value gap, taps in, orders start to be filled. Now, these are selling orders that are being filled, obviously, because this is a bearish fair value gap and price needs to move back to the downside, right? So, unfilled orders laying within this area, price moves into the area, market makers slash banks start to fill those orders. Orders are now being filled, which means money's being placed within the market. Sell orders are being placed within the market, and a lot of money and sell orders are being placed within the market, right? It's not just normal, how like normal traders like us would do it. Then we can see a strong push to the downside, slight, pullback, and then price continues to move back down further. Obviously, market closed then, but that's also another example of how you can definitely utilize fair value gaps. And then it also looks like there's a strong level here on Robinhood, a strong support that was created as well towards the end of the day. So this looks like it's a 1830, 1832 support created here on Robinhood, you can see was created here from this pivot point and this leg up. Then price retraced back to it. We bounced back off of it, bounced off of it multiple times, and even respected it within pre-market. So this is obviously, a nice little support that you can utilize. What's my opinion on trend lines? I used to be big on them, but now, to be honest, I'm not the biggest fan on them. Um, Trend lines can be used differently. I think it really depends on how you use them. But for me, like I've, been mentioning, I love and want to always trade where there's high supply and high demand. And by spotting where there is high supply and high demand on the charts, trend lines just don't go into that, if that makes sense. Or it just doesn't fit into that. Because with trend lines, I feel like you're kind of anticipating a breakout or trading a breakout. And while, yes, you can use supply and demand to trade trend lines, because obviously a trend line breakout is an extended amount of buyers or extended amount of sellers stepping in at a certain level, because the trend line is also pretty much like a key level, like a support or a resistance. So in order for price to really break through that, there needs to be an extended amount of um a party, which is either the buyers or the sellers, right? So that would be that. So trend lines can work out, but in my opinion, I just like to honestly stay away from them. Just because my trading style is different, and also because, I trade differently from probably other people that would use trend lines. I think, um, like a lot of swing traders use trend lines. Um, but um, but yeah, yeah, you guys know supply and demand king. I've literally been trading supply and demand for years. You guys can go back on my YouTube and see that over a year ago, I've been creating educational videos on supply and demand, helping you guys better understand supply and demand, trade with it, and still to this day, I am doing just that, right? My supply and demand skills have just continued to build and build and build. And, that's just how trading is. The more you trade, the more you're on the charts, the more you apply what you have been learning, the more you're going to get better, the more experiences you're going to build. And obviously, the more experience you have behind your back, the more trades you have taken, the more you have learned within the market, the more you're going to be more precise with taking those entries, with being confident with actually taking those entries, and really just, being as smart as possible on the charts. I was telling one of my students the other day that the charts are pretty much a story, right? Each candlestick, or all candlesticks, matter of fact, is really telling you a story. So the better you understand the story, the better you're going to be able to obviously tell it to other people. And that's just how it is with trading, right? The better you understand the charts, the better you understand seeing stuff, the better you'll be able to take those trades, right? And be more comfortable and confident on the chart. So it's pretty much just a matter of doing it. Literally just a matter of doing it. So that would um be that. And then obviously we did the main analysis for SPY. I did my trade recap for SPY as well for earlier. The one SPY put trade that I took. I'm gonna go ahead and mark this out too. Might as well. This supply area, I'll mark it out as, we have it. I'll do 515.70 supply, aka another selling area. Boom. We have 514.70 supply. Feel free to screenshot this too, guys. This is like the main levels going into tomorrow. 515.70 supply, 514.70 supply as well. 513 demand zone. We have our pre-market highs, pre-market lows. Honestly, 513, we're very likely to probably be trading below 513. Um, if not, obviously way higher than 513 going into tomorrow morning. I'm just expecting some type of volatile shift tomorrow pre-market when those red folders come out. So, um, but regardless of the fact, I'm going to be at 6 a.m. Pacific time, so 30 minutes after we have the pre-market data, I will be doing a pre-market review so we can make sure that we have the best zones and the best levels obviously charted out for us so we are as prepared as possible. And then in terms of demand zones, obviously we have this 513 demand, but let me see if I can find some type of backup demand in case this one is breached. Now it looks like I'm finding something just now. Perfect. This honestly probably should have been charted previously, but it's fine. So I'm gonna mark this out 5-minute demand. You guys can obviously see this strong move, strong push to the upside, indicating large amounts of buyers, buying pressure. We obviously want to trade with that. Gonna go ahead and extend it out to today's trading. We also have this, which I will mark out as well, just so we have extra zones. Okay, cool. So these are going to be our demand zones, aka our buying zones. And then give me one second. My apologies. Let me see. Could this have been done differently? Okay, I'm gonna just leave it as is. I'll go ahead and I'll use this too. Okay, cool. So now we got our backup demand zones, our backup key levels. I always like to have the backups just in case, obviously, A, our levels either get broken through, or B, I like to just have those levels as either, take profit levels, or just like reversal spots on the charts, because these zones are pretty much high potential reversal areas. So I want to make sure that I am, when I'm in my trades, I'm obviously exiting at the highest slash best points possible. And the way that I can do that is by exiting at high potential reversal areas. Obviously, I'm not going to know exactly where price is going to move on the charts or reverse exactly on the charts, but I can get an idea by drawing out my zones and my levels. And by having my levels as my take profits or my exit areas, that really helps me by obviously really getting the most out of that position, or not being able to really have FOMO, I guess, in certain trades. So that would be that. I'm going to go ahead and move over to the 1 minute real quick and then try to match something. Try to match a 1 minute inside the 5 minute. Wow, I'm not even. Trading View did me dirty. Alright, it's no worries. Okay, cool. So we got all the levels out. Everything is looking good. Can I check out NVIDIA? I most definitely can. So NVIDIA is strong. If you guys don't know, for the ones that don't trade Nvidia is always super, super strong. Um, Now, Nvidia is more of a breakout, I would say, like level, kind of key level type of stock to trade around, just due to the fact that you can always see whenever we have like a certain key level on Nvidia, it either heavily rejects it or heavily breaks through it, like breakthrough here to the downside or respect. But what I'm going to do, because um, I do my analysis on Nvidia as well sometimes too. If things look good, I even will take a trade. Oh wow, yeah. Yeah, you can see this 856.50 on Nvidia is huge. I would say it treated more, this 856.50 is treated more as like a buying area or demands area. The sweep, it realistically would need to have a full break or a full sweep below these lows to see that sweep realistically. Um, but what I am seeing that is heavily sticking out is this demand zone here on Nvidia. This is looking very good. I like this here on Nvidia. I'm definitely going to be scoping this going into tomorrow morning. Maybe we can possibly take a setup or a trade on Nvidia and then give Prince 50% of the profits. Um, but yeah, I like how that looks. Gonna see if I can find anything on Tesla. I have this 5 minute and 1 minute demand zone on Tesla that still hasn't been yet to be tested. So I'll be patient on that. Um, what I do see is this. I'm gonna get rid of this. Yep, demand here, strong demand, strong buying pressure down here on Tesla. We could definitely expect a move down to this zone as well here. It's not too far down from where price is trading. In terms of everything else, 100% this started the strong ass move to the downside. You can obviously see we have a large move to the sorry, not downside, upside, indicating a huge amount of buying pressure, a huge amount of demand stepping into the markets. We even got a retracement back into that exact area, respected it, and then got a beautiful bounce within pre-market, sorry, post-market. So obviously showing that that demand is already confirmed, and already we got a confirmation that this is indeed a buying area that we can utilize going into tomorrow. So I'm actually going to mark that out. um, Let me go ahead. Just in case we do see anything crazy as well, I will mark this out as Tesla supply. I mean, there's this as well for sure. Let's see if we can match a 1 minute inside either of those zones and then see what looks best. All right. Yeah, 100%. I like this zone better. Stronger, more supply, higher on the charts, obviously showing that that's the highest point possible, which is basically what the premium is in terms of when it comes to supply. So, and that's pretty much where the largest move started. So that's where the largest selling pressure or the largest amount of unfilled orders is laying. So I'm still going to have this charted out, but this is going to be my main for sure in terms of if I actually want to take a trade off that level. So beautiful confirmation in terms of actually getting that 1 and 5 minute zone. What I'm going to do is I'll just do 177 even supply. And then I'll mark this out. I'll just do 176 supply. Feel free to screenshot or do the same. Let's see if we can do a 1 minute zone inside our 5 minute right here. Beautiful. Boom. I'll do it right here. Got a nice demand zone here on Tesla. I'll do 170.80. Strong buyers, because I like this zone, to be honest. I really do. Um, there's that. Boom. All right, cool. We got Tesla, we got Nvidia, we got SPY, we got it all, boys. I think I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up shortly. If you guys have anything in particular, anything you want me to go over, any questions, if you guys have any videos or anything you guys want me to go over or react on, let me know. But I love the idea of doing streams like this. I think it was fire. If you guys like the idea as well, let me know, because definitely going to be doing more of these. Continue doing some more analysis, trade breakdowns, maybe do some live trading streams. Just a bunch of different ideas and different topics that I'll be able to bring and do for you guys. So, um, gonna go ahead and wrap it up very shortly. If you guys don't have any questions or anything else, all right, boys. Much love. For the people that are in here, I will be inside Tukhi Trading server 6 a.m. tomorrow, pre-market analysis, live trading as well. Hopefully we can, not hopefully, let's catch some bangers and the week off solid. When will the next live be? Likely sometime, maybe even Sunday. I'm thinking we do a Sunday live to prepare us for the trading week next week. So if you guys like the idea of the Sunday live, let me know. I'd definitely be down to hop on and do that. But other than that, I'll definitely be doing live streams at least like 1 to 2 times a week now. And then other than that, you guys all obviously always know that I'm super active in the Discord, always posting a bunch of different lessons, trade recaps, whatever the case may be. I'm going to go ahead, stop talking here. Much love. I hope to see you all in the next stream, and I hope to see you guys tomorrow morning in the Discord. Have a good night, boys. Much love.